So today I will be teaching you how to measure and draw a length with an architectural scale. To be able to keep along, you'll need a piece of paper, you'll need an architect scale, pencil with an eraser, and a straight edge of some sort, either a triangle or a T-square. Anything with a straight edge really works. T-squares are preferred because you can keep a straight line with whatever your base is for that you're drawing, maybe a table or whatever you're using at home. You may be wondering exactly what is a scale. So a scale allows us to draw on a piece of paper to scale. So in every 1.5 inches on this scale equals 1 foot. This is what we will be primarily focusing on today. It is used in residential plans, sections. A section is just a cut through a building to show what's inside of a wall or whatever you're cutting through. There's also many other scales. So 3-inch scale, for example, is used for like close-up details. If you're working on a kitchen remodel, something like that, something that you want to get really close and see what is happening in that drawing. And then the other one that's primarily used in the architecture format would be the 1/2 inch. And the 1/2 inch is for large buildings, manufacturing buildings, things that are taking up a very, very long distance. The most important thing with learning how to use a scale is just learning how to read it. So essentially, we'll start with the 1.5 inches. You always want to read left to right, and the numbers go up from left to right. So if we go from the 0 mark, which is where you'd begin measuring, and we go left, we see 2, but then we see another 2. And then we see a 1 with the same distance tick mark as the 2, and then the 4 has the same as the 2. Now if we're going up, it would go 2, and then 4. The distances in between for this one is actually for the 3-inch scale, but we can use these as well because the distance from here to here, halfway, is here. So that is actually our 1 foot mark, and this would be our 3 foot mark. So I already drew some lines on my piece of paper right here. Both of these are on an 1.5 inch scale for demonstration. Like I said, that's the most used scale. That's the one that I will be using primarily today. So to measure this, you'd want to start at the 0 mark right here. And as you can see, the 0 marks on the end of the line right there. And then we can see that this line actually ends at the foot mark. So this line in 1.5 inch scale equals 1 foot. So this line right here is equal to 1 foot. Now if we take a look at the other one that we have right here, this other line, if we start at the 0, we then notice it's actually ending between 2 different measurements. So what you do in this circumstance is you actually move it down to the nearest full foot, like so. And we've got our 2 foot mark right here at the end of this line. And then you take a look past the 0. So we've got the 3-inch mark right here and the 6-inch mark right here. So this line on 1.5 inch scale is equal to 2 feet, and then right here, 6 inches. And as you can see, there's many numbers on this right here. So the longer tick mark right there is 1 inch, as well as this one. And then we go to 3, which is labeled. Each little one in between on an 1.5 inch scale, at least on my scale, represents a 1/4 inch. Now, for wanting to draw a line, for this example, I will do something that is a little bit different than our 2 examples, a little bit more complex. So, if I wanted to draw a line that is 3 foot, 3 inches, and a 1/4 inch, you know that you can't start at the 0 because that's only for full feet. So you'd want to look at the 3 here, and then like I said, each little tick mark is a 1/4 inch. So you'd make a line right there, like so. And then we got to make sure our full feet are right. So we got 1 foot right here, 2 foot right here, and this would be our 3 foot mark. So from the 0 to this is 3 feet, and then we've got our 3 1/4 inch mark right here. From there, we grab our straight edge or T-square, whatever you're using. Make sure that we've got a good hold on it so we can draw a straight line. Now, as you can see, I drew a little bit over here, so all we're gonna do is just take our eraser and erase up to that. Now, I brought out an example of one of my drawings for one of my classes. We weren't told to label any distances on these. This is very uncommon in the architectural field. Usually you will have some type of marking here, like so. And then this will say how long this is. There are some drawings that won't list it, like this one, but the standard usually is to have the length listed with these. But if you were to get a drawing without a distance and you were trying to measure it yourself, you would simply start by putting the 0 on this end. Now, as you can see, this doesn't reach our full foot mark. So we know this is actually under a foot. Now, to measure it from there, we would just simply move the 0 to the other side. And then we've got our 6-inch line, our 7-inch line right here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 lines in between that and the 8-inch line. So we know that that is actually 7 3/4 inches wide. And then you would write it out like so. This was a relatively basic instruction, but this is the core baseline that you need to start to understand how architectural drawings are drawn and how you can measure an architect's original drawing yourself. I hope this video was instructional. You learned a lot, and if you ever need this in your future, it'll help you out. Have a good night.